in other words, versus Deucalion, and I'm who's going to win. Into the video. Now we're going to break the weak points, their strengths, and how much damage they take altogether. So yeah, we're gonna be discussing some of that. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Now let's start off with Deucalion. Deucalion's strengths are his wolf form and his eyesight. Now his eyesight aren't very useful, but he doesn't need them to hear since he is a werewolf. So he uses his super senses. But the only reason his eyes are that powerful is that they can paralyze anyone who looks right into them, and Deucalion shows their worst fear when anyone looks into their take people into a peak state where they're absolutely paralyzed. They cannot move. Nonetheless saying he cannot move. No one can move, and they can barely move since they look into his eyes, and once they are at their peak state, they cannot move unless Deucalion is away. Now Deucalion's other strength is his teeth and his roar. Now you might be wondering, how is his teeth got to do with anything? We already know that his bite is so hard. Well, let's say this. He could kill a whole... let's say this. Deucalion is, like Scott said, and I just said, Deucalion isn't always blind, but his teeth are absolutely strong. His teeth are so strong that they can cut through through Durok's skin, and through Durok, aka Jennifer from the series itself. They can cut through her skin. Nonetheless, even if she's a banshee, he can also take people's powers, not by just roaring. Now his roar is that powerful, it turns Scott McCall himself into a wolf. Now Scott McCall is a pretty weak alpha, and it's a pretty weak alpha, like I said. And the only reason he's the weakest alpha of all is because he had guts to put up with the beast, but Liam just didn't care at all. He went for it, and that's why Liam is one of the strongest betas we've ever seen on the show. Yeah, this is about the Hellhound versus the Demon Wolf. Now the Demon Wolf's roar is like I said, that powerful. It literally turned to Scott McCall himself into a wolf. So I'm not gonna do anything wrong with that, since he can use that to his advantage to transform Paris back to his original state. Now let's get on to the weaknesses. The weaknesses, he doesn't really have much, but he has a few weaknesses. Number one being the basics, Mountain Ash. Now Mountain Ash can actually trap him. Humans from the out and the hunters from the outside can actually kill him with their arrows, because Mountain Ash is only used stop them and put them in a force and put them in their own trap. Now, like the beast, like Marizon did in the to Sebastian in the season 3, in season 5, in season 5 part 4. Now I'm pretty sure it was season 4 because well, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was season 5 episode 4, but who cares? Once again, the basics of the weaknesses are Mountain Ass and Wolfsbane. Wolfsbane can actually hurt the demon wolf because of how strong it is. As we see on Tyler in the Vampire Diaries, it actually hurts them, and it actually hurts them by burning him alive. Now another basic weakness is Silver. Silver can hurt the demon wolf himself, but he can hear the arrow coming from any direction, coming from diagonally to sideways. And so yeah. Now let's get on to the powers of the demon wolf. The demon wolf's powers are the basics: strength, strength and speed, but his speed is incredible since he moves like the vampires from Vampire Diaries. Since he moves like Stefan, Damon and the others. His speed was so powerful that he got Scott by. His speed is so powerful that he got Scott just by one arm and took him over to Jennifer to kill her, and so on. His strength is also one of the basics. He has basic powers, he has basic strengths, but he's also has the power to paralyze people. Now this is relating to the eyes, as I've said, and once he, like I said before, one of his strengths is paralyzing people by looking into his eyes. It can either put him into shock, or they can either hurt him. Also one of the demon wolf's powers are his claws. His claws are that powerful they killed the Rock by hand. They literally cut through the Rock's throat by hand. But that's because they had an advantage due to the full moon, and so on. Now let's get on to Jordan Parrish. Jordan Parrish's weaknesses are actually pretty simple. Ice. Now ice can actually stops the Hellhound from becoming the Hellhound, and as we can see in season 5 episode 1 part 1, we saw the Hellhound frozen. At season 6 episode 1, we literally saw the Hellhound frozen. Now what does this as we saw in season 6, episode 2, he was frozen. Now I changed my words there because I remembered it, and so I was like, oh wait, now I remember. As we see in like I said, as we see in season 6, episode 2, a Hellhound was an ice for as long as 1912, so for as long as 600 years. So as long as 600 years, another one is the Ghost Riders. Now the only reason I'm putting this as his weaknesses is because the Ghost Riders can turn him into, is because the Ghost Riders would turn him into their own little pet. It's because the Ghost Riders turned Parrish into their own little pet, and by little pet I mean by Douglas turned Parrish just by saying Hellhound. Now that translated in Germany means Hellhound, as you can obviously tell. Now one of these other strengths is actually the beast. Yes, he has gone up against the beast and has killed he has killed the beast, like I said, and has been named the creature of the winner of creatures of who is the creature of the night. So it's like once I said he can kill. His other weakness is the beast of Živodan, because of how big the beast is and how little Parrish is just compared to a beast. Now, what Parrish's other weakness is his human form. Now, what I mean by that is that Deucalion himself roars and Parrish is back to the way he was. Now, why I say that is because, like I said before, in Deucalion's strength, his powers is his own roar. I mean, his strength is his own roar. And once again, we saw Deucalion transform Scott just by a single roar. So we saw like I said before, sorry, I keep forgetting my words about what I'm about to say. Like we saw Deucalion transform Scott into his wolf form just by one roar, just by one swoop of a roar, and got him at incredible speed. Now, yeah, those are his weaknesses. Let's get into his strengths. His strengths are also the basics. His speed, his strength, his running, and his jumping, and his lack of fear. But the one thing that got me intrigued was by his fire. Now, personally, when I started watching the series, and I got up to season 6, I was like, whoa, there's a Hellhound. Whoa, there's a guy on fire right now. And that's why it intrigued me, because it was a man literally on fire. Now, his other strength is once again his resistance to being like on fire. Is his resistance to fire. What I mean by that is Deucalion is that Deucalion could have set him on fire any time without knowing what species he is, but he already knows what species and how and what the weaknesses of him, and what the species what the weaknesses of the Hellhound is so yeah. Now his other strengths is one of his other strengths is just his legit strength. Now by what I mean by that is because his strength was so powerful he lacked fear of dying, and the Hellhound exploded, and Jordan Paris died and was brought back to life multiple times due to fire. Now I am not saying that the Hellhound is way powerfuler than Jordan Paris, hence they are the same. Thus they are the same person, but how powerful they are together when they work together. So yeah. So who's going to win? Deucalion would destroy Jordan Paris, as of he knows every single weakness and he knows how to deal with a Hellhound. Another reason of why I say that Jordan Paris would lose is because the Demon Wolf because Deucalion has known what Jordan Paris is for quite a while, and right after he died, he would have probably seen Jordan Paris and heard all about him, and who's going to win, Deucalion or thing. And you've seen a video, and you've seen multiple videos on Deucalion losing to the Beast of Zivadan, which is actually correct, and so on. Also the Beast of Ziva. Also, just pointing this out there, Deucalion is isn't always blind, so he can just transform his eyes back to the way it was, and can see everything. So yeah. Another reason of why Deucalion would win is just because of his roar. His roar is so incredible that it can literally turn a Hellhound back to its original state, a human. So yeah. But if Jordan Paris moves farther away from humanity, then that's when the real Hellhound appears out and would win. But in this context, in this battle, he is a wolf. He's a werewolf, not a wolf. And like Malia was moving farther away from. Was moving farther away. So yeah. And yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching, and who would win, Deucalion or Deucalion or the Hellhound. That's right, Hellhound. Oh, another reason why Jordan Paris would lose is because of the Ghost Riders. Now obviously he knows what the Ghost Riders are, Deucalion, and he knows that just by a single whisper, Jordan Paris can be turned into one of the Ghost Riders. So yeah, also go subscribe to my other channel, Vault the Wingo, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and watch me while I do this dunk. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Click the like and subscribe, and boom! Bye! Oh, I'm still streaming. Stop broadcast.